Oh man, I've been waiting so long to make this video. This is 10 ways to say fuck in Spanish. Maybe 11. I don't know. I haven't gone through and counted them all. I think it's 10. If somebody wants to count and report the grand total in the comments, you're welcome to do that. So, as we know in English, the word fuck has endless versatility. We use it for everything, you know? Buttfucker, motherfucker, what the fuck you, clusterfuck. One of my favorites from Ozark, shut your fuck nugget mouth. There's so many different ways to use it, but in Spanish, they have all different kinds of words to not even fully cover the spectrum of all the ways that we use fuck in English. And to make matters even more complicated, you have all the versions that they use in Spain. Sorry. A little interruption there. They have all the different versions they use in Spain. Let's just call that Spanish. And then they have all the versions they use in Mexican Spanish. And so, okay, I think the dog's leaving me alone. So we'll break those two down. I'm not familiar with every single Spanish-speaking country and all the different, colloquial ways to say fuck. So we're going to focus mostly on Mexico and Spain because I got this, wonderful vocabulary from watching literally hundreds of hours of Mexican and Spanish telenovelas. And that's really the only way to get a feel for how to use swear words properly, right? It would be so easy to mess it up if you hadn't heard it again and again and again and again until you develop kind of a feel for how to use it, when to use it, and using it correctly. I'm not a master of that, but I can definitely give you the breakdown if you're a noob on all the different ways to say fuck. So, and languages change too. So, like I worked in a restaurant kitchen 25 years ago, and everybody all the time was saying pinche, pinche. I don't know if it's because there's a lot of people from El Salvador that were like working there, like Viva Bukele. But I don't know if it was like just because of that, or if it was just the time. But 25 years ago it was pinche gringo, pinche this, I thought that was the way to say fuck in Spanish. Well, there's a whole there's a whole spectrum, so many different ways. And let's get started with the Spanish versions of saying fuck. Let's start off with coño, right? Coño is a funny word, and I hear it. You can shout it. It's sort of like at the end of a sentence because you're frustrated, right? You could just say something and then just finish the sentence with like coño. But you could also say like que coño, like what the fuck. That's a way to do that. So that's a fun one, coño. And a lot of the words, a lot of the ways to say fuck in Spanish start with the letter C for some reason. We'll have plenty more. Jumping right into another C one, cojones. Cojones, I think of meaning as like balls, but if you say like que cojones, you're really saying what the fuck, right? And so that's another one. But you don't hear that one used too often to mean fuck specifically. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely be like, I think of a scene in the show Entrevías, which is a Spanish show, one of my favorites. He walks into his hardware store and all the stuff that used to be on the shelves is gone. And he looks around and says, que cojones, right? So cojones is another good one. Let's go next with joder. That's one of the best Spanish ones. That's almost always used like in an elevated voice to really express a lot of frustration, right? And so you can just like bust out a joder to just be like fuck at the end of a sentence. You also sometimes hear it used like saying like no me jodas, like don't fucking bullshit me. That's probably the closest translation for no me jodas. And you could say like estoy jodido, I'm fucked. That's another one. So joder, that's probably the most common. You hear that all the time. in Spanish shows. Joder. Yeah, that's super iconic way to just belt out a fuck, in frustration at the end of a sentence. Hey, if you're watching this video and wanting to learn Spanish, I created this resource called cincospanish.com. I'm not a billionaire. That is not an S. I couldn't afford Spanish.com as my URL, but it's just a 5 in place of that. And as in $5 is in $5 an hour for private Spanish lessons with a Spanish teacher. Not just a random Spanish speaking person, but a Spanish teacher. I get no kickback from this whatsoever. I make no money from this whatsoever. No pinche gringo's gonna make a single cent off of you. 100% of the proceeds go directly to your teacher in Nicaragua. I did this as a favor to my teacher. I had a one-on-one Spanish teacher for 6 weeks when I visited Nicaragua, and her and some of her friends who are experienced Spanish teachers from the Spanish school that I went to are offering Spanish for actually less than $5 an hour if you're really interested. So one of the best and most affordable resources for Spanish learning on the entire internet, and go check it out. What else? Oh yeah, in Spain, to talk about like actual fucking, like, you know what I mean? Follar. ¿Quién está follando? Who's fucking? Follar is really used to mean the actual, sex. But that's how they say that. Kind of a universal way to say fuck. Puta is often used as the word fuck. Puta, I believe, I'm not certain about this, but I believe is like sort of an abbreviation for prostituta. It means whore. But of course, if you say puta madre, it really is the closest approximation to motherfucker for sure. But you can also be like, dame la puta lana, like give me the fucking money. You can emphasize stuff, before any kind of noun, the fucking money, the fucking this, the fucking that. You can say puta before it. So anyway, that's another one. Let's see what else. Am I forgetting any? Hostia. Hostia is another very Spanish word that I don't think you hear anywhere else in the Spanish-speaking world. And it's a little softer. It's not like a hard, like, joder. But like I think of a YouTuber I watched one time, and he just said like, hace frío la hostia, Dios, or something like that. Meaning like it's cold as fuck out here, or cold as hell. Like hostia kind of falls on the spectrum between hell and fuck in terms of like how hard it is. At least that's my sense that I get from hearing it a bunch and watching a bunch of shows in context. Hostia. But sometimes you hear like people just belt out several of those in the same sentence. ¿Qué coño, hostia, joder? That's kind of like the Spain way of cursing. Sometimes you just like pack it all in there. So yeah, that's I think that's the most of the one that covers the Spain ones. Let's move to Mexico now. Love Spanish, but Mexican Spanish is definitely like numero uno in mi corazón, and I just love all the different ways that they use it. So I don't forget. Probably the most entertaining lesson on the word fuck in Spanish is coger, right? Because in Spain, coger just means to catch, like a train or a bus. Or it can be, I heard in a show the other day, coger el bebé, right? Pick up the baby. He was in his crib. Yeah, if you say that in Mexico, coger el bebé, they're going to look at you like you're Jared from Subway. So, be careful with that. Yeah, anyway. And yeah, you would never coger a bus in Mexico. I mean, they got some big booty bitches down there, but, they might beep when they back up, but they're not literal buses, guys. So don't coger a bus or coger a train. Okay, another one, carajo. Carajo. One of my favorites is like, no me importa un carajo way, which is like, I don't give a fuck, dude. So that's a really good one. Carajo. We got coger. And coger is used like follar in Spain, by the way. it's talking about like literal sex. You wouldn't say like cohere, like I'm pissed. No, it's like referring to actual intercourse. Let's see. We got then chingar. Chingar is just absolutely hilarious. It just sounds so raunchy when it's used, and it's often said with like such just raw intention. Chinga tu madre, way. Hijo de la chingada. Yeah, it's just like, ooh, it's hard. I think my intuitive sense is that chingada is like really the sort of the nastiest, raunchiest, like most hardcore way to say fuck in Mexican Spanish. What else am I forgetting? We did pinche, we did puta, puta madre, chingar, coger, carajo. Is that it? I think that's it. I think we're done. If I forgot one, yeah. If I forgot one, tell me in the comments. Or if you're from Mexico or Spain and I missed one, drop it in the comments. And if you're from another Spanish speaking country and you got your own cool way to say fuck that differs from these methods, please share. Enlighten us all. We're always eager to learn more swear words and more languages. Yeah, that never gets old.